welcome to Weekly Reddit. In today's episode of r/Entitled Parents. Entitled parent gives my prosthetic leg to her little monster. Crazy mother demands I give her kid my Tide Pods to play with. Karen sell a house that is not hers. My aunt kicks my friend while she's having a seizure. Entitled parent gives my prosthetic leg to her little monster. So I haven't announced this on Reddit, but I have a prosthetic. I got it a few months ago, after I had to get it amputated due to an infection. So this story starts with a little kid, probably around 6 or 7, asked me why I had a plastic leg. I thought it would be an educational opportunity, and I said, this is called a prosthetic. I wear it because I have one leg. The kid said cool. Can I try it? No, I said, it wouldn't fit him, especially since he has both legs, and I am a lot older than him. I'd also topple over. So he went away, and I thought the story ended here, but no. M comes and tells me, hello mom, were you rude to my child? I was confused, to say the least. No, but he did wish to wear my leg, and to that I told him no. She then proceeded to yell at me, almost like that neighborhood meme woman. It was certainly as loud, but nobody seemed to notice or care. How dare you? My son deserves it. He's a good boy. I was making a face, apparently, because she said, how dare you look at me like that, you one-legged freak. She then ripped my leg off, and I rightfully screamed, louder than she could, loud enough for heaven's angels to hear. And they did. A man came and asked what was wrong. I said in between sobs, that woman stole my prosthetic. He saw M holding a leg and connected the dots. Mom, he said, please give this woman back her leg. No. M screamed. He backed up and got out his phone. Me and M weren't listening to the conversation, but I conveniently distracted her long enough for the police to arrive. They gave me my leg and she was sentenced to 3 days in jail. Crazy mother demands I give her kid my Tide Pods to play with. Hey everyone, long time lurker. I never thought I'd actually run into a wild entitled parent, but I did, and boy do I have a doozy for you. I'm in mobile. Please excuse formatting, etc. Blah blah blah. I do my laundry weekly at the exact same laundromat I have for the last year on the same day of the week at the same time. Nothing ever happened before, that is, until today. I get into the building and I notice a mom, M, and her kid, Ek, probably no older than 5 or 6, just running around without care. I find an open wash and toss my clothes inside, grab my bag of Tide Pods and toss some in. That's when Ek notices what I have and comes up to me. Ek, what are those? Me, they are Tide Pods, they clean my clothes. Ek, no they don't, mommy has a big bottle of soap. Me, these are soap too, but they don't make a mess. Ek, oh. Okay. The kid runs off to his M and I assume he is telling her all about Tide Pods. I notice out of the corner of my eye and notice M gestures towards me and says something to Ek. A few moments later, the Ek is back, but doesn't say anything to me. I take out my earbud and ask, what's up? The Ek just stares at me and then stares at the bag of pods. I then hear his M yell from across the room, well? Did you get your toy? I was confused, but the Ek just turns tail and runs off back to M. I can see that she is telling Ek something, and a few moments later, he's back. Ek, can I have some of those? Me, no, they aren't for kids to mess with. Ek, but mommy said I could have some to play with. Me, no you can't, they aren't toys and they aren't yours. Ek, but mommy said you have to give me some. Me, I don't care what your mommy said, they aren't yours and they aren't toys. I admit, I started to get heated and my tone of voice started to get more stern. That's when I hear it. The inevitable rumble of an M. This is the super fun conversation that follows. EM, excuse me. Don't you dare yell at my son. Me, I didn't yell at him mom. She cuts me off. Don't you lie to me. I heard the whole thing and you yelled at my baby. Me, whatever you say, lady. I stop being polite at this point. Mommy. He won't give me the toy. Me, kid. These aren't toys. She cuts me off. Again. Give him the toys. Now. You're too old to be playing with toys. I'm a 30-year-old man, he deserves them for being such a good boy today. Me. Lady, these are not toys, they are Tide Pods. I don't care what they are, my baby wants to play with them and you have to give them to him. Me. No I don't. Now looks like she's about to turn into a cartoon dream whistle at this point, so I decided to put my music back on and ignore her. I could hear her very faint yelling over my music, but I just ignored her and she walked away with her wailing child. Now here's where this gets funny, kind of alarming. About half an hour later, I notice that my clothes are done drying and I go over to grab my wonderfully warm clothes from the dryer. That's when I glanced up and noticed Tech wasn't with them. I figured he was harassing someone else and didn't think much of it. As I'm folding laundry, I glance up again and there it was. Ek has my bag of Tide Pods next to his and is playing with the pods. And he's being super aggressive with them. Clenching them hard, pulling them from both ends, stomping on them and throwing them around. His is sitting there smiling while watching her play with a toxic ball of liquid. I immediately walk over and snatch the bag from and Ek and tell her, me. What the hell, lady? You let your ex steal from me and play with something that is toxic? He's fine, it's not like you need them all to yourself. Stop being so selfish. Me. Just don't at this point. Look lady, I should call the cops and tell them your kid is running around stealing from people, while you let him and that you're letting him play with toxic things like they are toys. You wouldn't dare? He's just a kid. He didn't do anything wrong. And that's when it happened. Her ex had jumped onto a Tide Pod and it burst, as the ex slipped and hit his head. He's fine, this kid starts screaming as loud as he could. Look what you did. You hurt my baby. I'm calling the cops. Me, a little startled and trying not to laugh out of nervousness for the kid's head hitting the floor. Lady, you call whoever you want, your kid did this to himself. Just picked up her now snot and soap-covered crying kid and left, still screaming about police and how I hurt her kid. I just went back to folding my clothes and left. Police never came while I was there, but left her clothes in the washer and I'd if she came back for them. Next week, I'm going to a different laundromat in another town. Karen sell a house that is not hers. Again first at all, I'm not English speaker, so I'm sorry for my grammar mistakes. Near my house there is an abandoned house, the owner passed away, don't know, maybe 2012. I met him. He was a good man, never had children but he had nephews. After his death, a woman went to live to his house, nobody told anything because neighbors used to think that she was his niece. Nope, she isn't. The true nephew went to that house last week, and found that Karen is living in the house that his uncle left him. Well, I live like 3 or 4 houses left to her so I could hear her scream that she bought that house years ago, and she have all the papers of that house, and she's the owner. The truth? Another Karen sold her that house, she works in the town hall and got the papers of the house. When Karen number 1, we going to call her Joan now, and Sam, true owner of the house, went to talk with Karen. She at first deny everything. Then the police went with them. Karen screamed that she had the right to do that because she did a lot of things for this town, and nobody was to claim that house after all, so she did it and sold it. Sam reported her for property theft and Joan for scam. Karen got fired of her work counselor, and now she is being investigated. With this thing of pandemic all the courts are closed but Sam is lawyer, he asked favor to his friends and Karen was summoned to court in March. Now the house, Sam and Joan agreed that he is going to sell the house to her, but they're going to ask in the trial that Karen pay to Sam the money that Joan gave her for the house and the new papers of property, and a compensation to both. Sam is going to take that money and Joan will be the legal owner of that house. Sam wasn't interested on the house, he just came to see what his uncle left him and think what could he do with that. That is basically the story. The source: Joan told everything to my sister who have a store in her house, she told to us. And well, Joan told this story to every people she knows. She isn't a bad woman, but she could be a Karen when she wants. See, and again I'm sorry if I have grammar mistakes. Edit. First of all, thanks for the awards, never expected to get one. Thanks o.o/, couldn't resist to do that emoji. Now, reading the commentaries, I'm going to answer some questions that I saw. I live in Argentina. All that I know about property titles is that you must pay a public notary to legalize your purchase. Maybe Karen paid one to help her, or maybe the one who signed the papers never existed. I don't know that. The original owner of the house was a builder man of 93-94. He made the house when he was young, never had wife, children, and he worked till the day he passed away. I used to cut his grass for $1 or $2 when he lives. In that moment a child could be really happy with $1. Bought my first Sega saving the money that he gave and my parents used to give me. He was a good friend of the neighbors around his house. The girl who lives in front of the house found him dead when she got into the house looking for him. Nobody saw him in 2-3 days, and then she went inside and found him. She and another friend of him paid his grave. My town is in middle of nothing, is a rural town. We don't have drinking water, gas, sewers, most nearly hospital is 20 kilometers, but I don't why people here don't like it and go to hospitals in the state capital city, 50 kilometers. We have a elementary, middle and high school in the same building, and none of the streets are paved. Is the town that usually old people choose to live when they got retired. Young who live here is because they born here. And the town hall, well, we have the same mayor since 2000. He always win. Karen lost once against him actually. But is a pretty town where you can see some cows and horses around the street. And it have a lot of entitled people. Sam lives in Buenos Aires, Argentina capital city, which is kind of 500 to 700 kilometers of here. Being a young lawyer, don't know. 35-40 year, in the biggest city of this country. Why would he want a house in the middle of nothing? As long as I know. Thanks that my sister is friend of Joan. He came here to visit friends and then he came to see the house. Maybe he remembered that he had a house here, or maybe always knew and he just didn't have time to come. I saw somebody telling that this would be on/re-entitled people. My mistake, sorry. I'm still new on Reddit. I posted some stories here but still learning. Also Joan have 2 daughters. They don't care in this story, and I had some problems with Joan because her older daughter sit in front of my house to use my Wi-Fi. I still don't know how she discovered my Wi-Fi pass. Of Karen, I don't know much. This is a town of maybe 10k of inhabitants, segmented in 3 parts. There's a highway between the town and a closed neighborhood that the town also administrates. I know that thanks we have a little medical clinic and waste collection service, or at least is what she always says. Also, here there is a lot of empty land. You could go to town hall and ask for one, and they tell you that you only have to fence it and pay its taxes, and it's yours. Without papers and that. I don't know if somebody here did that. I'm not gonna ask somebody, hey, how did you got your land? But I'm sure more of one did it. If I hear something more about the trial or this story, I'll update you. For the moment people is saying that Karen is getting investigated to know if this is the first or the only house that Karen sold. Again, English is not my first language, so if I have mistakes I apologizes. I'm still learning it, and for words that I don't know I'm using a translator. Thanks for your time and have a nice day, night, see ya. My aunt kicks my friend while she's having a seizure. on phone and writing this now after I cool down. Hi again. If you read my first story you know a little about my aunt who is crazy and rude, but this is the first time I've ever felt really hatred for her. Background: so last weekend I had my friend who shall now be known as Cool Friend, CF for short. Aunt is entitled Aunt, EA, because we haven't seen each other in 2 years. Now she had an accident where she had split her head open and had to get staples in it. Her mom was and still is abusive, and she started having seizures soon after the staples. She didn't want to come over, but I begged her to because I missed her like hell and wanted to spend the weekend with her, so she came over with almost everything she needed. Almost. Now she had her meds for her seizures but also had a nose spray thing for if she had a cluster, back-to-back seizures with no response, and only had one. She was supposed to bring 2 but didn't. Also my aunt was in my area because one of her friends had just had a baby and was having a party for her new baby girl. Note, the friend was a darling and her baby was an angel. My aunt is a total witch. End of background. Now this takes place last weekend on Saturday. She got here on Friday and would go home Sunday. We were hanging out and chatting like girls do and just enjoying our time together. Well, I get a call from an unknown number and I'm about to let it ring out cause my gut said not to trust it when my friend picks it up and answers. It's something she does for me when I'm too far from my phone or busy, and puts it on speaker. I hear my aunt's voice and decide to listen. Yay. Hi up. How ya been? Who answered the phone? Me. Hi EA. That's just my friend CF. EA. Oh okay, well my friend is having a party for her baby and I wanted you to come and celebrate with us. Me. Knowing my friend has asthma, oh well I would, but CF is here and I don't think she'd want to be in a big room full of people. EA. A bit snippy. Well I didn't invite her, did I? I invited you. Me : I know, but I can't just leave my friend here without me. That's rude. EA. Now whining. But oh up, she draws out my name. I need you there. See, cousin, will be there and she wants to see you. Me, rolling my eyes. CF, covers the phone speaker. I can go, I have my mask. So I confirm with my friend that she's okay going and tell my aunt I'll go if CF can come with me. EA. UGH fine. Make sure to bring a present. She then hangs up and I now have to text her asking when the hell the party is and where is it. She gives me the info and tells me it's a girl, so I go upstairs, get an old gift back I haven't put, a little hand knit diaper bag someone from my baby shower gave me. I never use it cause it's too big for me and I kept it in good condition. It would make me super happy if someone having kids used it. So the party time rolls around and me and CF are driven to the party by my mum and go in with our masks on. There's 2 rooms, one for the adults to talk and hang without their masks and the room where the presents are and the baby. Outside that room a sign that said masks mandatory beyond this point was standing wearing bright red colors. I go over and place my present, then we head over to a table and chill while a few other kids our age come over. I see my cousin and we go and chat with each other while my friend assures me she'll be fine at the table. Now by this point she had already had 2 seizures at home and a cluster the night before, so she had no more spray. So I'm talking with her and drinking some juice when I hear people screaming. We run over and I see my friend seizing on the ground and people trying to get her onto her back. I cut in and lay her head on my shoulder and turn her on her side while telling everyone to stand back. Then I hear my aunt screeching at me about how my friend is ruining the party by spying on the floor. I tell her she's seizing and she'll be okay in a moment. This is when my aunt decides she's doing it for attention and kicks my friend in her stomach, with her fucking winter boots on. I start screaming at her to stop and am on the verge of tears while shielding my friend. My aunt keeps kicking and then tries to grab her by the hair while yelling at her to stop being a drama queen. I punch my aunt and tell her to get the fuck away. She's not conscious and can't respond. My aunt falls back and some of the guests grab her while someone calls the police. By this time I see my friend has stopped but isn't responding. I start to panic and pray this isn't a cluster because she hates the hospital and would be scared if she woke up there. Well, we try to wait it out but eventually we call an ambulance. When everyone gets there, my aunt is arrested for assault for a disabled person and the paramedics have a thing of her nose spray. They keep everyone separated but after an hour she was let go now that she was okay, and my cousin couldn't stop apologizing for her mother to me and the friend. I had to wait days to post this cause if I didn't I probably would have gotten in trouble with Reddit for either language or serious shaming. I haven't talked to my aunt since and I don't plan on ever talking to her again. What she did was stupid and dangerous to my friend's health and got her arrested. Sorry for the ranting but I hope you enjoyed or at least didn't punch the wall. Also, I probably didn't proof this.
Don't forget to subscribe so you can stay up with the best content from Reddit.